Okay, so we can just take the energy and use it for absolute rocket fuel. Does it make sense? Someone says, I hate you. Inside, you're like, what? Right? But are you sleepy and lazy, or are you like alive in that moment? So we're going to reframe how we're looking at things from a perspective that you'll turn amazing sales, you'll pull this incredible revenue, but other areas of your life will start going ding, 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 and lifting up as well. All of a sudden, an uncle from 20 years ago that you guys had like a fallout is now healed and solved, and you guys are connecting. How many follow? Say aye. Okay, so we're going to do that, but I want to show you a couple things because the things that you need to know to make the most of this session are crucial. Number one, take notes. Okay, and why do I say that? If you write something down, it changes things. So think of it this way. If you don't write anything down today, Dean, you'll remember 10% of what we talk about. Is 10% high or low? Quick, help him out. High or low? Great. So if I write it down, even if I never look at it again, it jumps to 50%. Is that even better? Quick, is it even better? If I write it down with a little zing, I just add a little pizzazz, right? A little whoop, whoop, or a little circle, or a whoop, or a noise, or something like that, it jumps to 92%. Is that even better? What if life were about you get out what you put into it? It is. It absolutely is, and it always has been. We just get tucked up in the weeds and forget about it and lose our clarity. But if you put more into this, I'll raise my energy as high as you guys want. High as you guys raise, I'll match, because in that moment, you have to match energy. So the next thing to remember is first, write it down. Second, I need you to manage your physiology, your bodies, how you're using your bodies. Why? Okay? How you feel is how you're sitting or standing. If you're feeling like shit, it's because you're sitting or standing that way. Okay? So if you're feeling great, it's because you're sitting or standing that way, or perhaps laying down. You can feel great laying down too, right? And so I want you to notice how you use your body is how you feel. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if I'm focused on this, oh God, he just said he can't do it, he can't afford it. If I'm focused on that, all my energy goes to that. And then what happens? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I ruin my own chances. So we want to build bridges. So number one is what? What was number one? Write it down, right? Number two? I think it was, okay, so let's call this physiology, right? How we're using our body. So think of it this way. Has everyone been to a basketball game? When you look at both of the sidelines, the teams, the sidelines, you know who's going to win before they win by how they're using their body, right? And if it's an even game, they're both like leaning forward and jumping up and down and stuff like that. You can tell if it's a close game just by looking at the benches. So I want you guys to manage your body. If your brain starts going, woo, or la la land, or the laundry, right? Whatever, change how you're sitting or standing, stand up, sit up straight. So let's test that real quickly. Everyone just kind of ridiculously cave in your shoulders and your chest and let your shoulders droop. I'm already doing it, right? So hold that. Now I just want you to think for a minute, are you breathing strong or shallow? Is there more to life or less? Okay, sit up straight, chest out strong. Are you breathing strong or shallow now? Is there more to life or less? Are you kidding me? Guys, just by how we're using our body, our whole day, our whole world, everything is completely different. This is the magic of physiology first. Our technology is called the triad, and we say physiology first, okay? Physiology determines what I'm focused on. If I'm sitting like this, I'm focused on something specific. So let's take driving a car, okay? What happens when someone cuts you off? What do? Cuss them out, okay? Okay, so let's break it down mechanically so you guys can just see this, because if we're gonna turn opposition and complete opposition, that means we gotta be able to turn anything around at any moment and be unstoppable when we must. So I'm driving down the road. I'm sitting probably like this or something? How do you sit when you're driving? Show me, please. Okay, so pretty lax, right? So, both hands. Oh, nice, okay. So she's following the driver's head, right? That's good, good job. Okay, so if I got both hands and someone cuts me off, before she communicates with them, which is what she said she does, right? She just went like this. Okay, here we go. Why did I participate with Jeremiah? So I lean forward first. My body shoots forward, right? Is that true? Like, oh, what? And then what happens with my eyes? Am I looking at the mailbox or the sidewalk or probably the car and maybe the driver? Hopefully the driver if I can see him. So immediately my body goes from this to this, and now I've moved my body first. I want everyone to get this. It's physiology first. And now my focus goes there, and then the language and meaning follows. Does that make sense? It might happen quick, but if we do a slow motion video and break it down, our body changes first, then our focus changes, and then the meaning and language. And some people communicate with their hands, like this. Read between the lines, right? And nobody knows how to drive but me, like whatever we're gonna language. Okay, so let's say we do that and we're straightforward like this, and we've said some choice words that you probably don't wanna say them, right? Okay. So I'm leaning forward, and then I look up in the driver, I see a young, probably a dad or husband with a pregnant lady in the back of the car, like with some blood on her head. Now what happens? Massive shift again, right? So now instead of this, I'm like, oh, and I change my body again. My focus changes again, and now the new meaning is, hey, let me pull in front and block for him. Let me help him get through all the traffic. Does that make sense? How many follow? Say aye. Okay, so in the moment, I want you to become aware in all the technology that we do and in all the technology that we train. So when we go into a shop, we start with the CSRs, and we just teach them how to book the holy hell out of everything. Wrong numbers, people calling to sell you, all of that stuff, but it's not a script. We teach them how to call audibles. If you know football, if I'm a quarterback and I'm behind the center, down, set, blue, right? And I'm doing on color, and I take the hike, we have to run the play that I called before, right? True? Say yes. Okay. But if I see the defense has changed or something's different, or I have a blitz coming here, or the nickelback is here, I have to change the play or we're gonna get killed. Does that make sense? This is why we don't rely on scripts. Because the plays are changing and you guys are getting your ass kicked. Now, if you do a whole bunch of calls and a whole bunch of people, numbers-wise, you will grow. But, our largest client does $280 million in revenue. So it's a different game at that point where we have to start refining, like, where's all the stuff we're missing? I'm not saying that you guys have to be there or ever want to be there, but we have a platform of how to get there from wherever you're at all the way up to 280. Above that, we don't know. Right? But we know principles. So if I'm there and I see that the play has changed, what happens if I run my play? Creamed, right? Absolutely creamed. How many times are our people getting creamed already? Probably a little, probably a lot. What do you think? Okay, so the first thing in turning opposition into sales, or complete opposition, is to avoid the pitfalls and blind spots that are right in front of you. Like, we gotta see, how many of us don't see stuff that's right in front of us, right? It's called the scotoma. It's not your fault, there's nothing wrong with you, but in your brain we have these scotomas, which are a blind spot, where you tell yourself it's not there, but it is. Like, I don't know, Dean, have you ever asked a kid to grab the salt? Or something from the fridge? He's like, me, Dean? It could be other Deans. The number one Dean right here, right? So they go there and they say, it's not there. Yes, it is. It's on the second shelf in the fridge. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. You come walking up. It's right there. And they're like, oh my gosh, how did I not see it? right? Question, did they not see it? Their eyes and brains saw it. We can track this scientifically. Yes, they saw the salt or mayo or whatever. But they told themselves what? It's not there, it's not there. What's he talking about? It's not there, it's not there. What is he talking about? Dean number one, whatever. What is he talking about, right? And so we get there and we're telling ourselves how many times it's not there. Over and over and over while we're looking. It's not there, it's not there, it's not there, right? So the first other piece is physiology. That's the first thing to turn opposition into complete cells. The second piece is we have to figure out what our scotomas are and like see real stuff, okay? We call this in our training platform for coaching CSRs and technicians, and then we go to the managers and leaders because once you have A players, they're not gonna stay. If the leaders and coaches and managers aren't like on their game, you're gonna lose your players. Like Michael Jordan wouldn't play for any coach. Like he did in high school and college and stuff, he kind of had to at that point. But some of the best athletes can pick the coach, right? And if you don't have a great coach, you're not winning. And so it's like, we have to say, and we call this, I said we're gonna mention what it's called, sensory acuity. Does anyone know the word sensory acuity? It's kind of big and sounds a little fancy or whatever. Does anyone know what it means? Awareness. That's it. But you're using all 5 senses to become aware. So do you have high sensory acuity or low? Does your team have high sensory acuity or low? This is a big piece to opposition because if you don't know what you're doing it, you're not actually doing it. Does that make sense? Like, have you ever gotten in a car and drove to work and been like, how the hell did I get here? I don't even remember driving here. You guys done that before? Yeah. And it's just so default. Some people are on their phone the whole time. I've seen it. I've done it before where I was like, oh, I got to post this or whatever. I got these followers, whatever. And I'll post something. And I'm like, it's not safe. It's not a good idea, right? But our awareness is the key. And so what are the 5 senses? So, these ones here. Do you know what these are called? There's no wrong answers, guys. I know I'm throwing out some crazy words, but what are these called, Frank? Ears, okay? So that sense is called auditory. If you want to write it down, you can, right? Because we want to take some notes. Auditory, what are the other of the 4 of the 5 senses? What else? Sight and smell, so that's visual. And smell is olfactory. Okay, that's the strongest. Like, oh, it smells like shit. Wait, let me smell. Like, what are you doing? He just said it smelled bad, right? What are you doing? Right? And then which one was said over here as well? Okay, so that's gustatory, right? And what's the last one? Touch. And the technical term is just going to be kinesthetic for that one, okay? So I use all 5 senses to notice what's going on around me. If you've ever been in your car and you look down at your phone and you're doing something and then you hear honk, honk, and you look up and there's 5 cars behind you waiting and you're blocking all of them, that would be a lower sensory acuity. A great sensory acuity is where, let's say Dean walks up and he's trying to walk past me and I'm here and I don't even look at him, but I feel him coming up, so I just step forward. You ever had someone do that? You went to tap them or say, hey, excuse me, and they already moved? That's a high sensory acuity. So if we write that down, it's S-E-N-S-O-R-Y, sensory, S-E-N-S-O-R-Y. And then the second word is acuity, A-C-U-I-T-Y. S-E-N-S-O-R-Y, space, number 5, just kidding, A-C-U-I-T-Y. Okay, the reason I have you write it down or ask you to is we want to add it to our vocabulary. It turns out the words you use the most often are the words that you feel. Okay? How many of you know someone that's like, the problem is, they're always identifying what the problem is. Just an example. All right? So let's take 20 seconds really quickly grab something to write in or write with or write on or type on or whatever, and just write down or think, what are the words you use most often every day? So let's begin our sensory acuity journey by becoming aware, what are the words that you use most often every day? Some of them may be appropriate to share. Some of them might not, all right? But that's okay, we get a sense, okay? So just another 10 seconds, just think through what are the words, you could even ask yourself that question, what are the words that I use the most often every day? Yeah, what was that? Is the bar open yet? Well, sir, yes, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Okay, so the sensory acuity piece, so we have the physiology, okay? How I sit or stand is how I feel, and that includes where I focus and the meaning. So if you give a meaning of something like this is bullshit, I want you to understand it's not actually that. It's what you did with your body and what you focused on. That determined the meaning that you gave it. Every one of you have seen someone that was like, this is garbage. Oh, this is amazing. Right? One man's trash is another man's what? Treasure. Right? So I want you to notice it's not the actual reality. And the reason I'm setting this up for you guys is because I want you to understand how to go through impossible things, pull it off, rock it, and then be able to post about it if you want to. And people are like, how the hell did you do that? I don't understand. Everyone stand up for me real quick. Has anyone done my classes in the past here? You have, Tom, right? I remember you, Scaren. Okay, so, Tom, I'm sorry, Frank and Tom. Okay, so we're gonna clap together. Everyone join me. Say yes. Yes. Say yes. Yes. Say yes. Yes. Woo! High five your neighbor, tell them you rock. Point at somebody else and say, I own you. Okay, grab a seat. That's called the yes clap, so we might pop into that at any time, okay? All right, so number one was the physiology piece, how I'm using my body. What was that weird two-piece word? What was it? Sensory acuity, which means what? Awareness. And which senses do you use for that? Perfect, okay? And that means, guys, like, even in the moment, if you're visualizing something, not everyone has an easy time visualizing. If you close your eyes, it's like, I can't really see it, right? Well, get a sense for it, get a feel for it. But as you practice it, you'll be able to actually taste and smell the victory of the moment that you want to see, okay? So the second thing, a part of that, we have physiology first, right? And then we have sensory acuity. And then the last part of that is called visualization. And also show some slides later. But you'll see I don't follow PowerPoint. Sometimes I adjust based on who's in the audience and things I feel that you guys need or that will make a difference. So I shift really quick sometimes, okay? So that's what's happening if you guys are wondering. I have tons of slides on there and prepare overly, but then in the game, I call audibles too. So the last piece is the visualization. I want everyone to understand what you imagine, your brain doesn't know if it's real or imagined, okay? So think of it this way. If I vividly imagine something, my brain doesn't know the difference. Hey, buddy, you're imagining. It's not real. My brain doesn't do that. Like even in your sleep, you can run in your sleep and stuff. Like it's super real, right? It's the same when you're awake. So the last piece of turning complete opposition into cells, and then I'll go on to a whole different part, is being able to practice visualizing, seeing things going well. Does everyone know who Andre Agassi is, the tennis player? So I live down in Sarasota, Florida. He lives over in Mayaca. We have IMG Academy. It's the most famous tennis academy in the world in Sarasota. basketball players, Greg Popovich, the Bull, like the whole bunch of NBA players go there and work out. And it's mainly tennis players, but it's a whole bunch of athletes, and I'm an athlete, so, I'm in that world. And so when they asked Andre Agassi, hey, what's it like your first time at Wimbledon? Does anyone know what he said? You've never been here before. What's it like, Mr. Agassi? He said, I've been here hundreds of times in my mind. The thing of it is, when you take something super hard or super difficult that's ripping you apart inside, for example, like something very difficult, a trial, the way to flip it around is to understand, so let's say I have a goal in 2 years. So what's a goal you might have in 2 years? Just anything. Remember, there's no wrong answers. Hey guys, does everyone agree what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Can we agree that? Say aye. Aye. Okay, so whatever you say, forget the camera back there. All right, but what's something that you would like to, so notice how I ask this. What's something that you would like to have happen in a few years or a couple years? Yeah. Open a new branch, okay? So in the moment when you open a new branch, we're gonna celebrate, right? What if we saw in our mind and started celebrating right now? What if we didn't wait 2 years or 3 years till it actually happened, hopefully? What if we could close our mind or close our eyes and just see the branch, see the people clapping, see the deal made, see the smile, see the excitement, shaking up whatever, spraying something, whatever it is? What if we see and feel that right now and it becomes so powerful and so real because your brain doesn't say, hey, bud, you're imagining it, it's not real, right? It just feels it and it just reacts that way. And then all of our behavior around that begins to align and make it happen. So what if we don't wait? What if we see it happening now? See the deal made now? See the paycheck or the bonus or the award or the super difficult sale, like nobody's been able to close them, and then you go, right? Because we can practice all these different techniques and stuff, but I built anti-sales method and I patented it in 2018 to get rid of all hard sales and come back to powerful human understanding and calling audibles in the moment. When you can call an audible in the moment, incredible things can happen. And I want you to know, as a person, when you know in the difficult moment that you can flip on a dime and change it and hit a home run, so to speak, the feeling that you have is unbelievable. Like, man, I can, and some of you have done this in business, like, get out of the way, I'll handle this, right? You step in and bring total certainty to the situation. But being able to have all your people do that too is unbelievable. We have 5 CSRs, we call them the Fab Five, who book 20 million in business each per year. They account for 100 million in revenue. You say, what do you mean? It's just a CSR. The tech hasn't officially closed it yet. They close it. They close it on the phone. If someone calls for HVAC, they might be able to book HVAC and say, hey, well, what's going on with plumbing? Got anything that's going on? Oh, what's going on with electrical, right? And they have like 3 vans show up at the same time, and you're like, whoa, I'm awesome. The customer feels amazing because there's 3 different vans with 3 different services, and it feels like you're redoing your house or something. And so we show and by the way, the CSR will outsell the techs 20-1. You guys think I'm crazy? They do 100 million, five CSRs, and they make a lot of money because we built a path for them to make a lot of money because we do performance pay. And it turns out, here's the weird thing. If you guys are still doubting me on this, think of it this way. Who will the customer tell everything to? The supervisor? The salesperson? The estimator? The owner? It's a CSR. So we start there, but you can't tell them they're selling or they'll fight you. No, I don't sell. You're like, oh, wait, hold on, this is anti-sales. It's the opposite. Be awesome and then ask. And we've gone in and trained American Express and Citigroup, so I can show you the customer service secrets that they use. Everyone wants to know. But that idea right there is something where I can get them to close their eyes and see it. And as you practice it more and more, you become better at it. And it creates a whole different experience for you. And that's how someone says, no, that's not trash, that's treasure. But not a gross treasure, like a really good one, actually, that you're like happy about. Everyone stand up. Shake your body out. Can you jump up and down for me? Okay, stand on your toes and go down. Okay, sit back down. Okay. So in this piece of anti-sales, right, the visualization is crucial. And just so everybody knows, so I've been through some impossible things and made it through to the other side. One was an 8-year custody battle that cost me $1.2 million, 7 attorneys. Whew, that was a tough one. We got everything. Yeah, come on, clap with her. Over there. Hey, and I want everyone to know this. Peace through strength. You can get along amazing after something like that, just so you guys know. And I asked my daughter, even a few weeks ago, I was like, have you ever heard me talk badly about your mom? She's like, no. Have you ever heard me argue with her? No. Does it mean I never have? It means she's never heard it. But it's important for kids to not hear you say bad things about the other parent. I'm going to get this piece in here, and no one's going to train you this in any other class, okay? But I want you to remember, if you say negative things about the other parent, it like cheese grates the heart, kind of, and that's a strong language to use, but it really is. And so that's a really neat thing. And then we kept pushing a coalition, and Governor DeSantis, that's here in Florida, last year, July 29th, changed the law to 50-50 for moms and dads. And that's a big deal because I was like, guys, all the criminals didn't have dad. It's not they didn't have mom. I'm not saying mom's not important, but when dad's not in the home, like they get into crime. And a lot of the technicians don't have a father figure. So you guys have to be that for them too and give them a great experience, okay? Any questions so far? Okay? All right, so what I want you guys to do is take just a minute. Let me see if I can, I don't see the clicker, so let me just move it over right here. Okay, so we want to create an extraordinary life. So I want you to write down overall for ACA, number 1, why did you come here? So we're going to take just a few minutes. I'm going to put on some music for you. If you don't have something to write with, raise your hand. We'll get you something. There should be a few extra pads of paper and some pens on the table. So number 1 is why do you come? Sorry, Joe. Number 1 is why do you come? Why did you come here? So I'm going to give you music for just a minute. Why did you come to ACA? Somebody told me to. I had to. I wanted to go to SeaWorld. Whatever it was. I wanted to see Mickey Mouse. Right? Whatever it was for you, just get it down. Why did you come here? Because the key to opposition is having a powerful vision that's stronger than anything that can happen to you. So let's start creating that right now. What do you want out of this trade show? What are you here to experience or transform? What are you committed to turning from a should into a must? Keep in mind, people should all over themselves. I should, right? But if it's a must, you'll do it, right? I must open a branch within 2 years, and it will happen, okay? So question number 1, why did you come here? There's a few cued questions on the screen. What do you want out of this program, this show, this trade show, ACA overall? What are you here to experience or transform? And what are you committed to turning from a should into a must? When you've done that part, go to number 2. What would an extraordinary quality of life look like for you? What's missing? What do you want? And what's the next level? We do this first as leaders, and then we can bring our team into this too. So we're not just working on business goals, you're working on personal goals with your team too. What's missing? What do you want? And what's the next level? We got Joe over here that won an award for Contractor of the Year. Now what? Right? Thank you for coming, by the way. That was fun honoring you guys last night, both of you. and your team. So number 2, what would an extraordinary quality of life look like for you? What's missing? What do you want? What's the next level? Everybody stand up real quick. Shake your body out. All right, can you lead us in a yes clap, Dean, please? Whatever you want, brother, but say something. Have us say something. Yes. 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 High five your neighbor. Tell him you rock. Point at somebody else and say, I own you. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. Okay, so what's number 3 say? Who could read that for us, please? Who can read number 3 on the screen for us, please? Okay, what has prevented you in the past from an extraordinary quality of life? And remember, there's only so many cocktails you can drink, so many beaches you can visit, and it's like, is this all there is? Joe, please.
My own mind.
Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me. That's right. Do you guys know his story? Is it okay if I just share a little synopsis of your story? Do you guys know Joe's story? How he got into the business? Do you know what he was doing before this business? Would you mind sharing, Joe? And then they laid him off, and he joined a group. It was a prayer group, right? Well, they did a prayer for you guys. And we're asking for guidance for his next steps, essentially. And guess what the guidance was?
I said, go in the air conditioner. I didn't know anything about it.
Yes. And anything worth doing is worth doing well, right? So I want you to notice success leaves clues. And so if he were to take, and I may be talking to him inadvertently right now for no reason, but if Joe were to take the commitment that he made that, hey, I don't know much about this, but I'm going to do it really, really well, and I'm going to give my all and everything that I have, he may find out that his future will also repeat what he has created here in the HVAC industry. Because he has a very supportive woman by his side, and they have learned a lot together. They didn't tell me this. And there's been a lot of difficulty and trials, as is every successful business. It's not just all success. Because keep in mind, and this is one thing I want to really point out, the lower you go, not on purpose, don't ask for trials, but the lower crap and trials and problems and difficulty you go, the more joy, happiness, and success you can have.
Right.
No one will tell you that. But if you want to succeed at the highest levels, you have to fail at the highest levels too. And you're not trying to. You're not asking for it. Let someone else maybe fail and learn from them. That's the better way, right?
6 little sons, and we were eating from food stamps. We didn't have anything else.
Yeah, in a previous life almost.
You got to stop right. We were in the bottom.
So what if we all started from the bottom right now? Wherever you're at in life, what if you now considered it the bottom? What would that do? So from this day right here, Orlando, Florida, 2024, March 12th, what if we all committed in this room right now that wherever we're at is the bottom and we're just going to move up? Are you guys with me? Say aye. Aye. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. So this last question, thank you, Joe. What's prevented you in the past? What's BS? What's the bullshit you're telling yourself right now that's holding you back from getting more, having more, doing more, influencing more, selling more, turning around difficulties more, putting fires out more? reaching more, contributing more, building your community more? What's not true that you're telling yourself? Because remember, a lot of this stuff, what's the stat? 80% of the stuff we worry about never happens. And what did we learn about focus earlier? Where our focus goes, our energy flows. Where our focus goes, our energy flows. Okay? So where's our energy flowing? So I want you to notice, as we do this, we have an opportunity in everything that we do to start fresh. Right? So I call it God, you can call it the Creator, or the Great Spirit, or Mother Nature, whatever you believe in based on your belief system is fine. But there's definitely a higher power for sure, and I call it God. And how I start with that is by understanding grace. What is grace? Because this is a key piece of opposition. Okay, that's good. I like that. Over here? What were we going to say? Mint green, chocolate chip mint, like color? Yeah. Makes me hungry. Thinking of ice cream, right? Yeah, Tyler, what were you going to say? Interesting. Okay, so what were you going to say? You got a good answer. I know you do. What did she say? Yeah. That's a powerful one. So the concept here, if we go to, has anyone read the book Radical Forgiveness? Okay, so the concept in radical forgiveness, and guys, this is all built around opposition, and we'll bring it into a really powerful sales piece, okay? Hang with me, because sometimes like, where's he going, where's he going? And then you'll see it like come all together. So in radical forgiveness, it says, what if we don't need to forgive because there's nothing to actually forgive? Like what they did, it didn't wrong you. It was just part of life and why we're here. It helped you grow. Because you'll have something happen and say, that's bullshit. And then 10 years later, you say, I see why it happened. Saved my life. I couldn't have gone down that path, but I was dead set on it, right? And something radically changed your path. You say, oh, I see why it happened. So also in this moment, I want everyone to remember, like, what if there's nothing to forgive because nothing was wrong? And it was just part of life. It's why we're here. It was part of our growth, and it helped us grow, and it's helping us grow right now. And this new part of life that I've mastered this other part, and I'm stepping in this new part, I don't want to let go, right? What, right? Because I built this huge company. I worked with tons of very, very successful business owners. And it's like, now what? Well, now we look at fulfillment. Because success is scientific. If we follow a certain formula, guys, we'll succeed. But fulfillment is an art. It's an art. You got to practice it, play with it, try new things, and have fun. So I want you guys, you're in Orlando, Mickey Mouse is down the street, like let's have some fun too, you know? So last question is, what's BS? And the piece that I want you to really get here is divorce the story and marry the truth. Because for 8 years, 1.2 million is a lot of money. It just is. And I could have put that into a business and like grown it to a lot. And there's real estate, there's all kinds of stuff, right? 7 attorneys is a lot. We got our butts kicked in the appellate court first before we came back. And they ruled we couldn't go to the Supreme Court. I'm like, how does a lower court rule? There's a lot of stuff happening in courts. I don't know. This is weird. So we just took a different path. But the piece that we want to remember is to be happy, to be fulfilled. We're going to ask 3 questions. So everyone write these questions down because I want to drive toward fulfillment. One of the keys of pulling off impossible opposition and closing a sale, whether it's a sale in life, a sale of a unit, a sale of services, a sale of, marriage is a sale, getting someone to marry you. It's like sell for life, right? No warranty. No returns, right? Woo. That we'll have that discussion after class, right? But no exchanges. If you Yeah, I was going to make another joke, but I don't know if it's appropriate. So, okay, so we asked the question, number one, is it good for me? Okay, so is what I'm doing, and this will be great because going into fear for the next part of the life is a really, really real thing, right? So you want to ask these questions. Number one, is it good for me? And we're looking for hopefully a yes, right? If not, then we probably need to change it. That's the first level of fulfillment. Number two is it good for others? So Ernest, is what I'm doing good for me? And then my second question is it good for others? And then the last question, John, is does it serve the greater good? Okay? So if I've got no on is it good for me? No. Is it good for others? No. Does it serve the greater good? No. Okay, super low fulfillment. Okay, is it good for me? Yes. Good for others? Serve the greater good? Not really, right? What we're looking for is yes on all three things. So in the initiatives, the projects, the employees, the business goals, the branches, all those other things, as you're working in your outcomes, we're asking, is it good for me? Is it good for others? Does it serve the greater good? Remember, some things are good for you, but they suck. I don't have a physique like this just because I grew up born like this, and I got calves, guys. I don't have stick legs, and I used to have, like, they call them churros, or some of the churro legs, chicken legs, yeah. Like, you look like a dragonfly, man. Okay. So I improved them, and I worked them, and I do a leg day 3 or 4 times a week sometimes, right? But we're looking for, does it serve the greater good? That's the highest level of fulfillment. So most of my clients, when they get to a point, like one of our clients has 2 private jets for their business. When you get to a point of what's next, what else is there, what else can I do, that's when a lot of people do philanthropy and turn, donate and all that kind of stuff, right? Were you guys on the thing earlier where we watched Steve Jobs? About him being open and stuff? Has anyone seen his deathbed confession? Or heard it, I guess? Or read it? Or heard of it? Yeah. So he basically said, hey, as I sit here, watching lights blink, and I'm in my last part of life, I realize I spent most of my life focused on things that didn't matter. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And let me highlight, is my clicker anywhere over here? I think it might be here, it's right over there. I see it. Okay. So let me highlight some of this real quick, because this is the other piece I want to get into. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, 15 minutes. Oh, can you guys read that real quick? Help him out. Frustration means what? Help him out. Frustration means what? Every time you're frustrated, you're about to have a breakthrough. It's good news. It's good news. Yeah, this is awesome. You're about to have a breakthrough. Don't get pissed. Don't lose control. Like you're frustrated, right? You're about to have a breakthrough. This is great. So I want everyone to understand, like, it's good news now. From now on, because remember we started at ground level, you guys agreed already? Now we can do that, okay? The other one, what does this say? Confusion means what? Everybody, confusion means what? Every time you're like, what the hell? What is going on? You're about to learn something. That's good news. So every time you're frustrated, you're about to have a breakthrough, awesome. And every time you're confused, you're about to learn something, even better. So when you start to see this, you're like, okay, right? Now all of a sudden, is it opposition really or no? You're about to have a breakthrough. You're about to learn something. Like, this is good news, okay? So let me go to, let's see. Let me skip through some of this real quick. Hi. Sorry, Joe, if you're trying to pick up something real quick. Okay, so here's our triad. So I just wanted to give you a visual. So this is our physical, the physiology first. This is our technology we use. And then number 2 is focus, and 3 is language and meaning. We talked through that. I just wanted you guys to have a quick visual on that. And that gives us the state that we're in. Okay? So if I'm going to call a great audible, what kind of state do I need to be in? An exhausted state, right? A depressed state, a curious state, playful, excited, compassionate, joyful. So those states, this is why in the moment, if the deal's going bad, like change your body immediately. And you can do it subtly where people are like, what the hell are you doing, right? You know, and it's like, actually you want them to say what the hell you're doing. That's good. It like mixes things up and you go down a different conversation, okay? There's another piece I wanted to take you guys into. Let me take you to here. And then we'll use this last piece to close this out. Okay, what does this screen say? What's the top left-hand corner in red? Certainty. Okay, so everybody, I want you to get these. These are what we call the 6 human needs. Okay? This is why you do what you do. So, Caden, everything you do in your life, this is why. Everything everyone else does, that is why. Homeless, raised by wolves, special needs, we tried it on everyone, it's the same, okay? So certainty means I need to know what's gonna happen. I need to know I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna know she's not gonna leave me. I need to know that like I have a place to go home to. I need to know I can eat, right? Certainty. Everybody needs certainty, but some need it a little bit more than others, okay? Now God, in his infinite wisdom and humor, decided to give us the top right-hand corner in purple. What does that say? Variety or uncertainty. It's like, what the hell? It's the complete opposite, right? Do you like surprises? Yeah? Bullshit. You like the ones you expect. Right. Right? The other ones you call problems, right? And so I want everyone to notice people get pissed when things go sideways or chaotic or don't follow the plan, but it makes us feel alive. Wow! You feel alive. And that's a big piece of fulfillment. Like, babe, mix it up. Do something different. Say it in a different way. Do it in a different way. And so the variety, we have to have that. We crave that. And some need it more than others, but be careful to not throw it aside too much. Because I've traveled with people that are super certainty driven, and it's hard to travel with them. No, we got to do this. And nothing goes to plan, and it's like a super stressful trip versus like, okay, whatever. And I'm not saying you have to live like that because you want to have a plan. But we need both. Some need it more than others. Like you'll even see that on a call with a technician or with a CSR. Like, hey, all right, Mrs. Jones, so we've been in business for 25 years. We're awesome. You're in great hands. We're going to come out, take a look at everything, see exactly what's going on. It's going to be fantastic. Go ahead and start feeling awesome right now. This is my problem, not yours. I'm excited about this. The cost for us to come out is just $85, right? When would you like us to come out? Well, surprise me, right? But you'll hear that. You'll hear that with customers. Well, they'll say, I don't know, just whenever. Just come whenever, drop it off whenever. They're driving to variety. Okay, what does the middle green say on the left? Significance. Do you know who I am? Do you know how long I've been doing this? Right? We all need the significance, but some need it what? More than others. And there's 2 ways to get significance, by the way. Kick some serious ass or have a big problem. You ever seen a kid limp on the wrong foot? Or an adult limp on the wrong foot, right? It's like, oh my gosh, right? Because they need this, and there's 2 ways to earn it. If I cover myself in piercings and color, we got a fresh cut, but color of the top of my head or something, like I'm gonna stand out. These pants, I stand out. So I get immediate significance, right? But is it good for me? Is it good for others? serve the greater good. That's where we'd plug that in, okay? What's the far right say, the middle right, the purple, the other purple? Love and connection. We all want love, but we'll settle for connection, okay? How many have been in a relationship way too long? There you go, right? That's a great roommate. Yeah, so these are the needs of the personality, certainty, or variety or uncertainty, significance and love/connection. We want love, but we'll settle for what? For connection. Those needs we must have to survive. Okay? In other words, if I have a newborn baby, if the baby doesn't have certainty, uncertainty, significance, and love, it will literally stop breathing. It won't breathe any longer. It has to have those. As humans, we also have to have them to survive, which is why we lie to ourselves. I'm fine, everything's fine. It's not, right? But as we go down that path, we'll lie to try to give ourselves these, okay? And so then the bottom two are the needs of the spirit, not necessarily spiritual, but the needs of the spirit. What's the bottom left hand say? Growth, okay? So this is growing. If we're not growing, we're dying. If your business isn't growing, it's dying. If your love life isn't growing, it's dying. If you as a person aren't growing, you're dying. There's no middle ground. The middle ground's gone. It's just like what good sucks. When I ask another, hey, how you guys doing? We're good. Okay. The reception, how was the reception? Good. Oh, okay. How was the marriage? Oh, it was good. You know, good sucks. Outstanding is good. Right? It's almost shifted, right? Well, it's like unbelievable is now, awesome. Awesome is now, right? So that all shifted. So just be aware of that. And then the far right, the bottom right says what? So that's given outside of yourself. So Joe, that was when I was talking about philanthropy. Like people get to like the end of their career, or not necessarily the end, but they've achieved a certain status. And they start giving away, helping, contributing, right, to others. These two, growth and contribution, are extremely fulfilling. These are the ones that Steve Jobs did not do. This is what he was talking about. He was focused on significance and certainty. Like, everyone's going to know who I am. I'm going to make something to change the world. This is all good stuff and important stuff. But as we go through opposition along the way, like, you'll get cut down. There's a saying that says you can choose to be humble or you can be compelled to be humble. Like, you will be brought to your knees. It's real. It's a real thing. Please choose, right? For all of us. But I want to give you guys this. So let's take just real quick, just 30 seconds. And I want you to write down what you think your top two are for you. Okay? So take 30 seconds to a minute, real quickly here. And let's just write down, what do you think your top two are? So in other words, Dean, I'd look at it and say, yeah, this is good. And this, but I got to have that. And that's good. And that's good. Yeah, but I got to have that, right? See if you can pick your top two real quick. This is an exercise you can take back to your team. Okay? Pick your top two. What are your top two? I'll give you about 30 seconds. Turn it up a little. Yeah. What are your top two? What's number one? It's like all of them. I need all of them, but I gotta have that one. And I need all the other ones, but I gotta have that one. What are your top two? Okay, I'll give you another 10 seconds. Okay. Can you pause it for a sec, please? Thank you. Okay, so right here, what are your top two, please, if you wouldn't mind sharing? What happens in Vegas? Remember, we all agreed. Yeah. Love connection. Awesome. And I know they probably feel pretty similar for you, but which one's a little bit higher, would you say? Correct. Which means, the reason why that's important, and thank you for sharing, which means if people aren't giving or if he isn't able to give, he can still feel love. If contribution was higher, you don't feel love unless people let you give. Does that make sense? This is really subtle, but I want you guys to get this before you learn because this is crucial to opposition. in our game of opposition where people are saying no or rejecting us or denying us or like trying to ruin our lives, right? Like that happened to me. It's like, oh, cool. Wealthy people trying to ruin you. Like, this is awesome, you know. It becomes a joke. Like, you just start laughing about it and say, oh, awesome. Well, it took more than one person. That's cool. It must be a force, right? Awesome. So, but in this case, right, if this is higher than this, he only feels love after he's able to give. And the reason why that's a difficult thing is what if no one accepts your gift or your brownies or your service? Like, I don't want it. Then you don't feel love. But in his case, he still feels it, okay? Right here, what did you put for your top two, please? Okay, which one is higher for you? Awesome. Okay, love connection. Okay, cool. So whether things are boring or not, you still feel love, right? Cool. All right, right over here. Over here, sir. Yes, you. What are your top two? Significance and growth. Cool. Which one's a little bit higher for you? Correct. You're right. Okay. Now, what did we learn earlier? If one's a little bit higher, what could happen? You guys remember? Okay. They're clapping for us. Cool. All right. So in this case, significance and growth, if he doesn't feel valued or feel like he matters, he doesn't feel any growth at all. You could be training him all day long. True? Yeah. So he needs to know, like, hey, I'm an important part of this. Hey, I matter. Hey, you guys care. Hey, you guys need me, right? And the reason why this is really important is any teammate you have, in sales or not, if their highest is significance and we're not meeting it, you're dead. You're not getting anything out of them that you could. I was like, no, Jeremiah, they're doing really good. I was like, I know they're doing good, but it's fragile. Something's going to happen and they're going to zip, or they're going to do this, or start their own company and compete in your own zip code. Like I was saying, all kinds of stuff. But if we get that and we handle that, it makes sense. How many follow? Say hi. Okay, last thing before you go, we're finished. Is there anyone in the room that wants to throw a quick challenge at me, like something that you're facing in your business? Around opposition, around sales, around growth, around any of these things. I will be at Ask the Experts tomorrow. I think it's at 1:15. Wait, today's 1:15. It's at 12:15. Yes.
I can follow my sword. The bullshit I tell myself all the time is that I'm terrible in sales.
Yes. Okay. And I'm totally honest when I say this. Guys, I've never taken a sales training in my life. Not once. Do you know what my ex-wife told me? She said she worked for the New York Times, and then she was the director of fun. Like, what a cool position. The director of fun for Starwood Hotels. She was the youngest executive committee member in the history of the company. Like, she's a real go-getter, amazing, dynamic, beautiful person. And she said she's taken sales her whole life, and I just live it and do it, and she doesn't understand it. But let me tell you what real sales is, because you're actually good at what I'm going to tell you. And I've watched you do it. And I've watched you do it today and earlier or something when I heard you say something. It may have just been the room, but I think I heard it earlier over here too. Amazing sales, because you can high five at who's the worst at hard sales and all that stuff. It's ridiculous, guys. The audibles and the powerful fulfillment, they are lit up, you're lit up, is different. Amazing sales is being awesome and then asking for the business. That's it. Are you awesome? Yeah, so all you'd have to do, and here's a simple way to look at that. Let's say we're in a restaurant. What's your favorite meal to eat? Like, what would you choose for your birthday dinner? Steak and potatoes. So this is our restaurant. This is the counter. You don't have to walk over here, but I want you to walk in. I'm at the counter. For some reason, she can order steak and potatoes in the counter, okay? And I just want you to ask me if I have any, okay? All right, go ahead.
Is it Jeremiah's your name?
Yes,
Do you have steak and potatoes tonight?
we do.
Okay, thank you. And turn around and leave.
You're welcome.
May I have some?
Thank you. So this is the key, guys. If you don't ask for business, it's super weird. It's really weird. I want you to get this. Sales is not all the training and stuff that they do. Sales is really genuine and beautiful. So let's try it again. Come in again and then ask again. Same thing.
My birthday, I wanted steak and potatoes. Do you carry that?
We do. Would you like some?
I would.
How happy is she? Okay, let's add one last piece and then we'll close, okay? Ask me one more time, please.
Hi, it's my birthday tonight. I'd like a steak and potato. Do you have that?
While we don't have steak and potatoes, what we do have is a turducken. It's turkey, duck, and chicken. I know it sounds weird, but people that love steak really like it. So what I'd like to do is provide you with that. By the time you're able to try it and it's ready and everything, we'll have some more steak coming from our Cisco shipment. And at the very worst, you can have steak after. Does that sound okay?
Sure, I'll give it a
Awesome. Give her a hand. Okay. Does that make sense? In the sales process, it's state. If I'm in a mean state or a destructive state, like I'm not getting it. And just remember what you do before you get there. Don't be arguing with your spouse or watching porn or listening to like rage music and stuff. I'm telling you, what you do before your performance determines everything. As an elite performance coach, like it really does. Let's finish with a yes clap. Who wants to lead us? You got it? All right. Caden's got it. Lead us in the yes clap to finish up. Yes. 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 All right. High five your neighbor. Tell him you rock.
If you haven't already downloaded the Active 365 app,
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Do you have a card on you at all? You mind if I get one? Yeah, thanks. Do you mind if I'll share one? Do you take cards?